Imagine walking up to your front door after a long day, and your key suddenly doesn't work. Then imagine your landlord ghosting you for weeks, only to steal your $1,000 deposit with made-up lies. Now imagine sending one report to the IRS and watching his entire life go up in flames. This is the story of how I got revenge. Real, brutal, and oh so satisfying. If you've ever been lied to, stolen from, or left powerless by someone in control, you are going to love this story. Hit that like button, subscribe, and follow, and buckle up for one of the most satisfying tales of justice served ice cold. Let me take you back a few years ago. Back when I thought I'd scored the perfect rental. I'd found a condo through Craigslist. Private owner, modern unit, nice neighborhood. The kind of place where residents cared about their homes. And for me, that was a big deal. I don't do loud apartment complexes with thin walls and busted elevators. I'm not some chaotic tenant. I'm quiet, responsible. I clean up after myself. I pay rent on time. Early even. And this landlord? Let's just call him Craig, because it's fitting. Craig lived in another state but claimed he managed the unit just fine from there. I signed a one-year lease, handed over my $1,000 deposit, and settled in. Everything seemed smooth for the first 7 months, until month 8 when everything started to unravel. It was a random Tuesday. I got home from work, groceries in hand, keys jingling. I went to unlock my front door, and the key wouldn't turn. Confused, I tried my backup key. Still nothing. I jiggled it, twisted it, even tried a little force, and snap. One of the keys broke off in the lock. I stood there dumbfounded, frustrated, helpless. Groceries sweating in the heat, my bladder full. I was locked out of my own damn home, and I had no idea why. First thought, maybe Craig had the locks changed for some emergency reason. I called him. No answer. Texted? Nothing. Emailed? Still silence. I waited. 2 hours passed. Just me, the door, and a rising wave of frustration. I didn't know anyone nearby. I felt completely powerless. That's when a woman from across the hall walked by and noticed me struggling. She asked if I was okay. I explained what was going on, and she offered me the number of an on-call locksmith. At that point, I didn't have a choice. I thanked her and called. The locksmith arrived and tried everything. He confirmed it wasn't user error. The lock was faulty, totally jammed. He said he could replace it for around $100. I didn't love the idea. I didn't own this place. But I couldn't sleep outside, and I really had to pee. So I told him to go ahead. After he installed the new lock, I emailed, texted, and left Craig a voicemail letting him know what happened and offering to mail him copies of the new keys. Still, no response. Now, fast forward to the end of my lease. The day before move-out, I demanded Craig do a proper walkthrough with me. I knew how landlords loved to invent problems to steal deposits. And after the whole lock situation, I didn't trust him one bit. Predictably, Craig refused, said he was out of state and busy. So I played my ace. I threatened to report him to the condo association. Why? Because he wasn't even allowed to sublease that unit, and he knew it. That got his attention. The next day, he sent a proxy in his place, some guy who turned out to be a retired cop and Craig's buddy. Let's call him Officer Buddy. But this worked in my favor. I'm meticulous. The condo was spotless. We went over everything. Appliances, walls, floors, blinds, faucets. I had photos and videos of everything. We tested it all. Officer Buddy nodded in approval and said, quote, "Looks great. I'll let him know you're good to go." I handed him the keys. That night, I moved to a new city, excited to start fresh. Then a month passed. No word from Craig.
Another month. Still nothing. I emailed, called, texted. Again, no response. Finally, 2 months later, I get an email. And it was like he used a random damage generator to make up lies. He claimed the blinds were broken, scratches on the hardwood, said the lock replacement damaged the door, scratches on the outside of the door, rust in the bathroom, broken sink, broken oven, broken dryer. Basically, he said I destroyed the place. And then, surprise, he included a totally accurate itemized list that just so happened to equal $1,000. Exactly my deposit. That's when the rage hit. Not the loud, screaming kind of rage. No, this was colder, sharper. I felt used, played, like he'd always planned to steal that deposit and just ghost me, hoping I wouldn't fight it from out of state. And for a moment, I considered letting it go. Court would be a hassle. I was hundreds of miles away, alone, starting a new life.
But then I remembered something. Craig had rented to me under the table. No contracts filed with the city, no records with the condo association, no tax paperwork, just a handshake, a lease, and my digital wire transfers. And that's when I realized this man probably never reported my rent as income, which meant he'd committed tax fraud. And I had receipts. Literally, I pulled out every wire transfer, each monthly rent payment cleanly marked and time-stamped on my bank statements. I had screenshots, PDFs, even the routing and account numbers. I also had a copy of Craig's driver's license. He'd insisted we swap IDs when I signed the lease to make sure neither of us were scammers. Oh, the irony. I searched his out-of-state address online and started compiling everything. My documentation was flawless. If the IRS wanted to audit him, they'd have a field day. And so I filed a detailed report. I uploaded everything. And then I waited. Years went by, I moved on, built a new life, forgot about Craig and his scams. But one day, just out of curiosity, I decided to look him up. And what I found was the most satisfying click of my life. Bankruptcy. He'd lost everything. Court records showed his bank accounts had been seized. His condo was gone. His cars repossessed. Credit score obliterated. All because of a few lines of truth in an IRS report. He tried to scam me for $1,000, and I took his entire fake empire down. The condo he tried to steal my deposit over? Gone. The money he used to live above his means? Seized. The luxury life he pretended to have? Shattered. I don't know if he ever went to jail, but that part doesn't even matter. Because Craig lost everything, and I slept like a baby that night. No yelling, no threats, just cold, quiet justice. And that, my friends, is how you serve karma, not hot, but ice cold with federal paperwork. Sometimes the best revenge doesn't come with confrontation. It comes with receipts and a little patience. People like Craig think they can get away with anything. Until they learn the hard way, every scam leaves a paper trail. If this story gave you chills, hit that like button and tell us in the comments, have you ever had a landlord or boss who pushed you too far? And what would your revenge look like? Subscribe and follow for more real-life justice stories, because karma doesn't sleep, and neither do we.